And a very warm welcome to everybody, and welcome to the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown from Swift Current, Saskatchewan. We got a fantastic game for you today. Brad Jacobs taking on John Epping. I'm Hans Fraunhob. Along with me is Connor Sims. How you doing, Connor?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I've been really looking forward to this game. Brad Jacobs is on a real roll, and this is an A-side game. Jacobs playing the Redstones, Epping playing the Yellowstones. Epping with the hammer here in the first.
Yeah, we're in for a good one today. We got two of the top ranked teams in the world.
John Epping with an opening round win over Kevin Cooey. And Brad Jacobs with an opening round win over Dustin Keldoff. Center guard up, and we are right into it, Connor. Whipping one right around. This one is going to be a barn burner. You just feel it.
Yeah, there's no fear from these teams. They'll go right at it out of the gate here.
Come around draw, biting half the button. And Ben Hebert is going to be asked to follow it down. Great crowd in the house today in Swift Current. Jam-packed behind the sheets, and we've also got temporary seating out on the ice surface itself. That's full as well. So on the weekend here in Swift Current, fans supporting the curlers, they are out here in absolute numbers. Good looking path on this shot, and Ben absolutely welds it. Great shot.
Here's a quick view of the fans on the ice here.
Check that out.
On all 5 sheets.
That's amazing, eh? Got the thermoses there.
Yep. Dress warm.
Well, they're used to dressing warm in Swift Current, so if there's any curling crowd on earth that is going to be well prepared for something like this, it is the good folk of Swift Current.
Those metal benches will make you cold.
Well, there you go. They know, they come prepared, right? They bring their little blankets and they lay them down, and you know, they got this figured out. Look at this. Weld behind that center guard. Stacking them and racking them. Brad Jacobs just going to pile them up. We're looking like a mixed doubles end here. It's fantastic. Brett Gallant. Kennedy and Hebert. Super strong sweeping tandem, one of the best in the sport. This one is going to come up just light. Perfect line though. And look at that from the delivery end.
Yeah, I guess the question is who's going to blow it up first here.
It's like a game of chicken, and it looks like, well, I wouldn't call him chicken here, but John Epping saying, well, we can't let this perpetuate. Time to deal with that front stone. Morgan runs it back, rearranges them, changes the angles. That improves things for Epping. That yellow-red angle now, a little bit better, aiming a bit away from the button area. So that's a good improvement for Team Epping. Jacobs again, asking Gallant to go around and freeze. Connor, if we're going to get 8 ends of this, happy days. This is fantastic.
Yeah. These two teams play with a lot of no fear, I guess you could say. No fear in these two teams. Both being their second game too, it's quite impressive. They have the abilities to feel confident to go at teams right away.
That attempted come around over curls and grazes the front guard. First trip around the out-turn side, Gallant coming up a good 4 feet short, so a bit of an opportunity now for Team Epping. Tanner Horgan trying to loop one around those center guards that are now a little bit more broad, with that last stone of Gallant's coming up short. Seems to be a little bit more movement on this out-turn side. They do sneak it around, and that is absolutely perfect. Nice shooting from both squads in this first end. See the two yellows angled on that red. And red's looking pretty lonely in there, Connor.
Yeah, for sure. One good hit here from Epping, and all of a sudden he's lined up for a big end here early.
So now it's Brad Jacobs' turn to pull the chute a little bit and say, this is looking a bit sketchy, boys. Asking Mark Kennedy to make a play on one of these front stones. Throwing a heater. Yellow moves red, picks off the yellow on the button, but not sure. Well, it improves it a bit, but now that red is absolutely unprotected. If John can ever get movement on those two yellows in the rings, that red is a goner.
Takes away getting rid of any more yellows as well. You make a hit on those top two yellows, none of them are leaving the rings. The only one leaving is your back red, which also might not be bad at this point in time in the game.
Timing thing, I think, for John right now. You could make that play. You could run the red in, pop the two yellows, pop the red out, but you've got 4 rocks to come. Feels a bit premature, so after some discussion, Epping is going to ask Jake Horgan to draw another one around the center guards. If I'm Brad Jacobs right now, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. Epping with the hammer here in 1. Teams got into it from the first stone of the game. Center guard up. Come around to the button. Freeze, freeze, freeze. And we are right into it in a big way. Wants to sit up beside the red but not go past it. And that is a fantastic shot. Now that red is threatened from 2 directions.
Yeah, gonna be hard for Jacobs to make a play on those now. Well, he puts a good freeze in here. It won't be removable, I guess.
Yeah, that is his best defensive option right now. Corner freeze the inside of the stone that Horgan just delivered. Got to get across nose. But this man, Mark Kennedy, such a consistent player over the years.
Definitely
one of the great debates. Yeah, go ahead, Connor.
Sorry, definitely one of the best thirds, and I guess second to ever play the game.
Yeah, he's amazing. What I was about to say was, you have these debates in curling clubs and watching TV and things like that. If you had one person on earth that you had to ask to throw a stone in a tough situation, who would it be? And Mark Kennedy's always in that conversation. That one might be about 6 inches light, but it does clutter the path a little bit for John Epping. But they would have liked that weld frozen across nose. So there is a bit of a gap to work with here for Epping. You know that the play is coming. You know that the run is coming, and at some point John will run red and try to pop something on the yellows and get shot. Is this the moment? It looks like it might be. Or is he content just to slash across the Reds and move them that way? We're about to find out. As Jake Horgan lines it up. This whole end has been building really strongly. Now can they get the payoff? This one might be over curling. Gets some motion, moves the red, but moves the red into a not great spot for Team Epping. Because the angles have all changed. Connor, take us through it.
Yeah, as you can see here, it looks like they're playing the slash onto the red, but over curled a bit on them. And they ended up catching the red first and took the weight off to remove that back red, and it kind of kicked it into an uncomfortable position for Epping to remove on their next two stones.
Center guards are now overlapped, so that's a negative for Epping, and the angle has changed on those two yellows that were previously frozen to the red. You might get some drag if you could get contact on the front yellow with some weight, but the question is, how do you get there? Now that's guarded by that center yellow. That red in the button is still pretty lonely, though.
Yeah, they're staggered the front two guards as well on that shot, which isn't ideal when you're trying to, when the rocks are fully guarded in the rings.
Brad Jacobs will be looking to clutter up this path a bit further. You might be able to hit the front red if you just hit what you see and go across the top of the two yellows if you're Epping, but Jacobs trying to take paths away. His first delivery of the game. Just the first end. Man, oh man. What situations we've had already. Both of these teams out of the blocks like 100-meter sprinters. Well, the long guard choosing to block path to the yellow. That red run might still be there, and that looks like what John's looking at as well. He's saying, if I can hit what I see of this thing, can I clip the yellow going by? Or is he thinking about trying to run that long red one? He needs to do something with these front stones, although Jake Horgan now saying, maybe we just put a setup shot and corner freeze our own.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was John Epping, I wouldn't want to be throwing that run on that red.
It's not one you want to throw. I'm not sure I see the danger, though, Connor, to be honest. I mean, if he hits the red, if he clips and he goes across, leaves nothing. Brad's probably guarding anyways. I don't think he can do anything but go across the top of the two yellows with the red if he hits what he sees. And they're a good look at the overhead angles here. Stone I'm talking about is the second of the two red guard stones, or the two center guards. And that's what John's just showing us there, his broom direction. Red across the top of the yellow, clip it, but it's going to pop it by. You might get some drag, but it's all not great. But John has to do something here to change the approach into the button. He's going to have to skinny that guard that Brad just threw. Hit as much of that red as he can. And even if he does, he may not get the action with the drag. But here we go. John Epping throwing some smoke. Got that action, changed the angles a bit. Didn't improve the angles on the two yellows just in front of the 4-foot, but at least unlocks the stone closest to the shot rock. So improves the situation for himself a bit. He's kind of locked himself out on the in-turn side, but the out-turn side, still something going there.
If Brad throws a guard on this left-hand side on this overhead here, I'm not quite sure what Epping will have to remove that red on the button.
It's definitely what they're looking at, Connor. And they see that that's really John's only way in now. Overlaps and angles on the right-hand side of the picture of the overhead mean that there's really no realistic way to get rock movement to the button on that side. So all the action is on the outturn side from the delivery end for the right-handers. Left-hander, of course, Mark Kennedy holding the brush. But you want to be careful because you don't want to leave your guard in a spot where John could run it in. And so Mark's saying, yeah, we got to get an overlap when we're guarding as well. Otherwise, John's just going to raise our guard. So some discussion here about the line. Remember, early in the end, Brett Gallant threw a guard, or an attempted come around actually, down this path, over curled. So we're spending a lot of time just locking in the line. Brad Jacobs trying to shut the door. His final stone of end number 1, John Epping will have the hammer. This one, it's got a little bit of moving to do if they're going to get that overlap. Here it comes. Well, have they got that little final bit of curl, but if John's feeling frisky, red almost straight back, clip yellow onto red. Maybe there's a 3 here. Tough shot.
I don't think there's no risk with this shot.
Yeah, I think you got to try it, don't you?
It's always only max a steal 1, I believe.
Yeah, I'm with
Don't
you.
want to jinx anything here.
Yeah, not impossible to give up a multiple point steal, but yeah, I'd agree with you, Connor. Very low risk. And
Just got to run it back. Just off nose, just missed the yellow, and it should be close.
Pretty much where Jake is holding the stick. That's the contact point that John Epping is looking for. Trying the long raise for a possible 3. Final stone, first end. Sweeping for curl. That's got to curl a bit more. I don't think he's got enough contact. Oh, he does! Terrific shot, wow. John Epping. Bango, it's a 3. Great shot. Well worth another look, Connor.
Yeah, John's got this nice delivery here. Releases it. Looks a little bit wide, and then it clips off this yellow guard and redirects perfectly onto the rock here.
Yeah, a little bit fortunate on that redirect, but it is a score of 3 after 1 here in Swift Current. Welcome back to the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown, Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Glad you're with us on Curling Stadium. John Epping versus Brad Jacobs. Epping throwing a 3 on the board in that first end. Hans Frauenab along with Connor Sims. And Connor, during the break, we were discussing that final stone of John Epping's there in the first, and you picked up on it on the replay, just that little redirect. And let's have another look at that final shot. Watch what happens at point of contact. The attempted play is the straight run. Watch this little redirect right onto the yellow, changes the angle of the shot and actually makes the shot. I thought John had missed it a little bit wide, but just that little feather redirect that you picked up on, Connor, actually made that shot. So that's a 4-point swing.
Yeah, that's one of those you look at the other team, say, I'm sorry, but you go to your team and say, nice end.
Absolutely. Well, John and his teammates, to their credit, had built that whole end up. That danger was lurking for Jacobs the entire end. And even though there was a little bit of good fortune in it for Team Epping at the end of it, they earned that opportunity for that good fortune with all the good play before that. So net result, 3 on the board.
That's the risk you take when you leave opponents' stones in the rings as well. Something good could happen on a last, and it did for Epping.
Yeah, absolutely right. When you mix it up, you do take that risk. Complexion of this second end, not surprisingly, a little bit different. Jacobs first stone, tight corner guard. John happy to lob a couple of stones into the ring, and that all-important fifth stone now, 5 rock free guard zone. John Epping throws a tight center. So play much more conservative, as you can say conservative can be when you've got 5 rocks in play, but certainly nothing like the first end where we had weld freeze after weld freeze. Brett Gallant being asked to deal with this center guard. Ben Hebert muscles up. And Gallant, you don't want to characterize a curling shot, but sometimes you can kind of feel anger in a shot. That shot felt like it had some anger behind it. This team is not happy about that drop of 3.
It definitely had some smoke on that, that's for sure. Well, this is a good setup here early for Jacobs. They got their corner guards up and only one Epping stone that they have to deal with later in the end.
Bit of discussion going on. They do have an opportunity to hammer those guards if they choose to, and they are choosing to after some discussion. Look for a moment like John was thinking about going around, and his teammates going, wait a minute, we just scored 3. We really want to have a big accumulation of guards on the wings? And after some discussion, the answer to that is no. So Tanner Horgan being asked to run the long guard, which he executes well. I think that's a sensible play, Connor.
Yeah, for sure. I think it takes away the stagger on those top stones. So it leaves them a run opportunity if they want it on their next. After Jacobs, I guess they're guarding here, so I guess it'll probably be the same shot once again.
Brett Gallant.
I
think he's actually playing a hit on the stone in the rings, looking for a flop here, Connor.
Yep, I'm wrong.
Gets a corner of it hidden behind front cover, but there's a path to the shooter if John wants to play it, and it looks like he does. Those 2 guard stones definitely useful for Team Jacobs. They do a lot with those front stones, go around them, tap them, maybe even split them. For now, it's shot rock that John Epping is concerned with. And it'll be Jake Horgan. Just boardish kind of weight.
Yeah, just looking to hit the stone and stick his shooter somewhere in the rings. At least make it something for Jacobs to look at.
Sweeping hard for curl. He's going to get a piece, but is he going to stick around? He's not even going to move that out of the rings. No. That's a execution mistake there from Team Epping. Jake Horgan. A little bit full or a little bit heavy, but the bottom line result, good opportunity now for Team Jacobs to set up for a multiple. That was unexpected.
Yeah, he got unlucky too, kicking it right behind the guards, buried.
So great chance here for Mark Kennedy to punish a mistake. Trying to get another one in behind cover. If he hides this well, all of a sudden 3 is on the table for Jacobs.
Been great play by both teams here early so far.
Oh, it sure has. Team's really going for it. This stone sliding deeper than I think Mark would have liked. Does get cover, but it does slide, creating a pocket there in the back 8 foot, and John Epping saying, okay. Not thrilled about having to leave those stones in play, but given where they are, our best option is to try to freeze to it.
definitely tell that he's hesitant to call this. But I think it is the right call.
Well, you said, Connor, what happened in the first end, the risk that Brad Jacobs accepted when he left rocks in play turned into a 3 for Epping, and now it's John Epping's turn to feel that discomfort.
Well, if he locks the freeze on here, I do. It's going to be tough for Jacobs to remove it, and it arguably takes away those 2 back red stones.
Well, for Jake Horgan, nothing you like more after a miss than to give yourself a chance to bail yourself out with a good shot. This stone just skinnies those guards, and it comes to rest weld frozen right in front of the shot rock. Terrific shot from Jake Horgan. That's a good comeback after that miss on his first.
I don't think you can make it better than that.
Actually gets a cross nose, and so that's pretty much locked out those 2 reds, but still an opportunity for Kennedy to get in front of that one, and multiples still very much on the equation here for Team Jacobs. Both teams getting a really good look at this outturn path. Horgan's hit ran straight, or perhaps was just thrown a little bit full, but first Horgan and now Kennedy going down a great path, and that's a nice shot from Mark Kennedy. Half a round.
Epping's electing to pick it out here. It looks a quarter, half-ish open.
Well, there's definitely a gap between Kennedy's stone and the one delivered by Jake Horgan. So if John hits what he sees, worst case, red goes across the top of yellow. And if he picks it thin, he could pick it out and just pick it clean. Once again, big weight. Similar to what he threw on his last stone in end number 1. And there gets action. Leaves that red stone on the rings, but gets rid of the shot rock. So it's not danger free yet for Team Epping, but yellow still frozen on red shot. That's the safety blanket for John Epping. Brad Jacobs looking to repeat what Kennedy just tried. He's going to go around those 2 red guards. Going to have to be very precise to the spot that he throws to, but if he can get to T line, he can get close to full cover just in front of T and still get shot. He's going to be drawing away from the 4-foot as he goes around that corner guard, though, so he hasn't got a lot of area to draw to.
They know this path. They threw it. Them and Epping both thrown it a couple times here now, so it should be close.
Hebert and Gallant working that one hard, keeping the motion going. And this one looking just like a beauty. What a luxury to have those two guiding your draw attempt down the ice. And look at that, absolutely welded.
I don't know how you miss.
It's kind of like a cheat code, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just lob it out there and let those guys drag it wherever they want.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to throw you a 3 guard and you just pound it, put it right there.
Exactly. There was a drill that we used to do that, a lot of coaches use, which is a great sweeping exercise if you're wanting to train your sweeping eye. Basically, the challenge is for the thrower, throw it into the house, and for the sweepers, keep it out of the house. So as the thrower, you're trying to throw a front biter cold, and the sweepers are sweeping it 12 feet plus to try and keep it out of the house. This one looks a little bit heavy. Now they're going to try and sweep it by. Going to the back. Execution error there from Epping. So after all the smoke clears, opportunity for Brad to get back a pair from the 3 that he dropped in the first.
Yeah, good opportunity to get right back into this game. Oh. Just realized the score says 3-0 Jacobs. It is 3-0 Epping for all you viewers.
Exactly that. John Epping with the 3 on the first. We can see on the scoreboard in the background. Brad Jacobs with a chance to get a pair of them back right here. Wants to throw the exact same stone that he threw on his first. Glenn Hebert. I think this has plenty of weight. Now they're calling an audible. They're going to go to the back stone. So that was actually quite a bit heavier than the first, but fortunately for Brad Jacobs, the backing was there and they used it. Good read on the audible. 2 points on the board for Brad Jacobs, and we have got a very entertaining match here in Swift Current. After 2, it's Epping 3, Jacobs 2. We are back in Swift Current at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. John Epping enjoying a 3-2 lead over Brad Jacobs. John Epping with hammer here in the third. Epping with a big 3 in the first. With a little bit of good fortune. Brad Jacobs coming right back with a fantastic freeze on his first and had backing to use for his multiple point. Puts a 2 on the board in the second, and as we start end number 3, John Epping has the hammer playing the yellow stones. Hans Fraumlob here with Connor Sims. Well, as we expected, Connor, this one is not disappointing. Very enjoyable so far.
Oh, for sure. Lots of rocks in play, good shots, good sweeping.
Then Hebert. Let's see as we pan back. Lots and lots of folks here to watch this world-class field in Swift Current. Hebert with the attempted freeze, maybe a little heavy. Didn't get to nose, and there we get another great look at the spectators. Terrific crowd on hand today here in Swift Current.
There is a home province team McEwen playing right there in front of them as well, so definitely a team bringing in a lot of views at the club.
Well, after the recent slam in St. John's, I think maybe people are realizing, yeah, it's great to watch curling. We love it when, of course, you're watching on the streams. But if it's happening in your town, kind of good to get out and see it in person as well.
It's definitely a different atmosphere in person, especially if you can be on the ice watching it as well. That's a different point of view.
No doubt.
Hearing the players, seeing their facial reactions.
Exactly. Well, this one's shaping up a little bit like that first end, center guard up. Not quite weld freezes, but stones accumulating, and Brad Jacobs says, okay, here we go again. His teammates are saying, remember what happened in the first, Brad? Do we really want to start stacking around that center guard again? And Gallant and Kennedy are going to come down and have a chat about that. They got scorched in the first with a 3. Playing a lot of stones around center guards. And I think Brett, in particular, doesn't really like the idea of throwing another one around center. And they're talking about making plays at these stones in the rings here, Connor.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I would even do here, to be honest with you. Looks like they're looking at like a back line-ish tap, chip their red over and roll their shooter.
Yeah, I think Brett's making the argument that that redstone biting front eight, it's not helping us right now. The angles are bad. And so we need to either change the angle or improve that shot somehow if we're going to think about piling around that center guard. If we don't, we're going to get scorched.
I'm not quite sure what the call is. Brad signaled last second there to the back four around those three rocks.
Yeah, I'm guessing a bit here too, Connor, but I think the play is at the redstone biting the 8-foot, almost playing it like a split. Tap red, pushed across the face of the shot rock. Spill the shooter maybe at the edge of the 12.
As long as it has the right weight, you probably have both options depending on how it runs here for them.
So it's kind of on Brett Gallant. This is the shot that he wanted to throw. Now it's up to him to make it. Kennedy and Hebert absolutely pounding it. This one's over curling. And the corner frees the stone, biting the front 12. So it's overlaps aplenty. Bad angles for Jacobs, good angles for Epping. John saying, kind of like this. I don't really want to wreck it, but on the other hand, don't really want to leave center guards either. Six rocks to come in the end. I don't know, feels a bit early to me to be blowing up the front, but you are one up with the hammer. So you are playing with fire if you're leaving those front stones. So Tanner Horgan being asked to deal with the front shot. Clears the front, pushes red. Now things quite a bit, well, not easier, but certainly more options for Brad Jacobs.
I think if Brad makes a play in the rings right now, we're looking at a blank end.
Yeah, and that's why I was a little bit surprised at the play from John to rip the front on that shot. Because for exactly that, Connor, all of a sudden the play's in the rings, you got the heavy hitters coming up. And for John, yeah, it keeps the conservative option alive for conservative 2 and maybe a blank, but felt like they were in a pretty strong position before that clear to think about, you know, maybe loading up for another 3. Anyways, that is the situation now, and a lot of looks at these angles. Red stones belong to Jacobs, the yellow stones belong to Epping. And we're gonna come down for another chat.
I don't think they want the blank here, and I think they realize that they're gonna make a play on these yellow stones, that it's probably gonna end up that way. They would love to get their hammer back in the 4th end here.
Well, John Epping
kind of
with
like
the brick.
what Ben's signaling at here, doing kind of like the back 4-ish tap that they tried on their first here. Spread your stones out a little bit more. And then maybe start the hitting to see if you can get the force.
Brett doesn't look convinced by his body language, but that is absolutely a good option. You do need to get past that front stone, front 12, though. If you ever to feather that, then that could invite that 3 end again for Epping. Nothing in front, so the risk is lower for both teams, but on the other hand, angles are still not fabulous for Brad Jacobs right now. So you got to change something. So after some debate, Gallant loads up. Just grazes the second shot going across the top of it. Pops out the front yellow. And now, as you forecasted, Connor, John saying, okay, pretty natural double. Let's make that. Line up a double back, and that feels like a blank.
If you're Epping, you're happy with this scenario because you're up 1 in the 4th end and an even end with the hammer.
Tanner Horgan. These stones lined up about as well as they can be for a natural double, but this one is going to overcurl Plant's nose. Misses the double and lines up a double back.
It's not bad. Jacobs
I'm
makes
just going to say not fatal. Yeah, exactly that.
You're going to have a double back, so.
Mark Kennedy. Looking to remove a couple. And there they go. A little bit of assistance out of the rings from Brad Jacobs, sweeping it to the barrier. And as quickly as that, in the space of 4 or 5 shots, we go from a couple of center guards with a bunch of stones behind it to a very decluttered landscape.
I don't know if you saw the new rule they're testing out at the next Grand Slam about the blank ends there.
I did, and that'll be very interesting. It's causing a lot of debate among curling fans. What Connor's referring to is an experimental rule that they're going to play at the next Grand Slam. If you blank 2 ends consecutively, the second time you give up the hammer, as Horgan executes the double and just 1 stone in play. That'll be very interesting, Connor, to see how that plays out. I'm actually on the Competition and Rules Commission of World Curling, and I'm always a fan of seeing rule variations being tried in competition, and then you actually see what's going to happen. You can have all the theory in the world around, well, if you went 5 ruck, you could do this, or if you went 6 ruck, if you do this, and no tick zone, it would do this. You don't really know until the adjustment is played in competition how the athletes will adjust to it. So I don't want to predict how it's going to go with a no consecutive blank rule, or well, a consecutive blank rule give up the hammer, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely see a lot of skips. Not adjust their strategy just a little bit. Maybe if the blank end's about to happen, they might go a little bit more aggressive, or to go for a 2, or go for a single, or go for the steal, I guess, in that matter.
For sure. I mean, this is what we love, isn't it? I kind of a curling tragic. I woke up this morning thinking similarly, okay, in a second situation there, so my opponents blanked the end, and so I know if they blank the next end, I'm getting the hammer back. That potentially changes radically what my setup looks like in an attempt for a force in that second blank end scenario. Maybe I'm not playing around the center. Maybe I'm throwing into the rings in the wing and let them throw a corner guard on it, So I think the way it's going to be playing out and adjusting is going to be really interesting.
So both these teams have faced off against each other twice already this year. Epping took a win over Jacobs and Sault Ste. Marie at the Henderson Meadowfall Classic. And Jacobs took the win over Epping at the New Forest Penticton Curling Classic.
Well, evenly matched teams of really high quality. And so it's playing out here in Swift Current at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. This end tracking towards a blank. Still 3 stones to come. Good execution there from John Epping. It's amazing how quickly the complexion of an end can change. Mid-end, we had conferences happening. You know, the end was dragging a little bit. These teams were coming down and discussing strategy and options, and a couple of doubles, bang, 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 and all of a sudden it's straight up and down.
Yep, it's funny how curling works that way.
Nose hit, and this will be the blank attempt coming up for John Epping, looking to carry the hammer over into the 4th. Well, you called it mid-end, Connor. That shot choice from John to clear front was with the hope of getting into exactly this situation. Let's see if he can execute.
Just a clean here. And
yep, no problem there for John Epping. And it will be a blank, and we will head for the 4th end. It is Epping 3, Jacobs 2. John Epping will have hammer in end number 4. This is the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current. John Epping versus Brad Jacobs. Epping blanking the 3rd. We are underway here in the 4th end. John Epping enjoying a 3-2 lead with the hammer here in 4. Hans Traunab along with Connor Simpson. Connor, we were having a bit of a chat during the break around that tactical choice from John in that 3rd end to blow up the center guard rather than attack when he was looking in a pretty strong position. All about the blank, and you made what I thought was a really insightful comment for junior age players and the psychology that you're going to need to compete at this top level. And the way that you expressed it was you need to play the scoreboard and be prepared to play 8 or 9 ends and go the distance. And you want to just amplify on that a little bit?
yeah, I find like a lot of teams will go into games expecting, you know, we want to win. Like, we're going to go hard to either blow them out or, you know, or we get blown out, I guess, the logic. But I think versus top teams, I think it's important to just have that logic of we're going to be here for 8 ends and it's going to be a long game. We're just got to make one shot at a time. And yeah.
Except that it's going to come down to that final shot in the final end pretty much every time out. And that dictated
that call with Epping there, blanking or electing to go for the blank in the 3rd, so he could have this hammer in this even end up one with the hammer, which is a really good situation to be in if you're Epping.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because John in that 3rd end, at the point in time where he made the decision to blow up the front, was actually in a really strong attacking position. He had stones in good places. We're behind center guards. He had overlaps, but it was setting up at that point in the end an awful lot like the 1st end where he wound up scoring a 3. So could have kept the pedal down, could have gone on the attack. But as you said, Connor, thinking about the situation, thinking about the scoreboard, realizing that he's got the hammer, had the choice to make on the shot when he made the choice, and said, I will sacrifice my pretty good chance to score 2 here, knowingly, in the hope that we can blank keep hammering to 4. And the 4th is the end where we'd love to press a little bit harder to score 2. So to your point, Connor, that's, a really disciplined choice to decline the chance for a good chance for a multiple in the name of sacrificing it to play for the blank and reload in the even end. And here we are in the 4th, and it's piling up again.
Yeah, Jacobs elected with the double centers this end. And Epping came around, came deep on his first, and then on their second, they came top button.
Brett Gallant grazes the second of those center guards.
Advantage early to Epping, in my opinion, here.
Yeah, no doubt. Jacobs lying one biting edge button, but those 2 yellow stones just in front of them, menacing. And with that graze and where Brett's stone came to rest back at the 4-foot, yellow on to red on the front button will go across the top of that back stone as well. So some real danger building up for Brad Jacobs. 2 overlap center guards, though, to deal with for John Epping. But things are beginning to stack up pretty well here mid-end for Team Epping. And this will be a situation where, Connor, to your point around the 3rd end, it will be green light pedal down for John Epping in this end as far as pressing hard for a multiple. He's not going to be blowing up the front early this time.
Yeah, you could already tell here he's definitely going harder for the 2 this end. Because I think if he wanted to, he was happy with a single or a blank here, he would be peeling those center guards. But just another nice shot. This Epping team has had their draw weight early this game.
Now Team Jacobs, Brad's not liking what he's seeing. His teammates lurking out there beyond the hog line. They're not liking it from a distance either. This is looking pretty darn sketchy. Look at that on the overhead. 3 yellow stones clustered in front of that red shot rock. Angles are awful for Team Jacobs.
Bright side, they do have shot rock right now.
Yep, that's true.
And it looks like their shot rock goes back and jams on there.
It will jam back, you're right. So worst case, probably facing 2 max at this point.
Kind of looking like this first ending in here.
Yeah, it is. It exactly is. We were just freezing around center guards and stuff accumulating, and this is looking very much like that first end. John Epping being very comfortable attacking around center guards with the hammer to generate offense. So after some discussion, I think Brad Jacobs saying to his teammates, well, boys, we're into it now. Let's just keep lobbing them in here. Those center guards overlapped, but those are still runnable, promotable center guards, the way that those stones in and around the button are clustered and welded, and really no danger at all for John Epping to be running front stones in. So Mark Kennedy is going to try to increase the degree of difficulty of moving front stones by putting another one down the path here. Hebert dragging this one into the target area. Just nudges that yellow stone, changes the angle a fraction. As we look at it, Tanner Horgan saying, yeah, can we see the edge of that red? Could we ever pick that out? Shot rock I'm talking about.
I think if you see enough of that red and feel comfortable throwing it, you ever pick it out of there,
It's looking
Very
like 4.
dangerous. Like, that's what John
Taking a long look.
originally signaled for there. But like, you ever just missed a red too and flash it on the wide side, you get rid of that stone that's
The catcher.
defending you from making that play on those top ones right now.
Yeah. 4 rocks to come. So you've got a bit of time to recover from a gamble if you try something that doesn't come off perfectly on this shot. But boy, it is pretty tempting to me. Great look here from the hack end. You can definitely see, well, maybe a quarter, more like an eighth of that red stone just to the right of the brush of John Epping. So we think this is the play. Gonna just try to pick that red out. And if Horgan can make this one, Epping goes into an incredibly strong position. Huge shot coming up here.
This will come down flying.
Sweeping for curl, trying to get the shooter. Gets a piece, picks it clean. Great shot. Fantastic.
Just a clean release here from Jake. Really good at throwing that big weight. And I guess you can call it surgical here.
Absolutely.
Just enough.
Beautiful. Beautiful shot.
Now what do you do if you're Jacobs?
Well, now you know you're in real trouble. You have to throw a setup shot here and change something in the angles. Because if you don't move and unlock those stones, front button, front forefoot on this shot, chances are really high that you're dropping 3 and maybe more.
It's been enough curl here, but could you ever just draw exactly where that stone was there?
You could potentially do that. You could. But you're starting to run out of bullets here, I think, a bit, Connor. So
yeah,
if you threw a draw in there now, then you'd be accepting some risk that you're basically conceding to right now if you decide to not make a play on those stones somehow. If you would have said to John Epping, would you be happy to put a 2 in your pocket in this end starting the 4th? I think he would have said, yep, all day long.
And now he's looking at a 3.
Oh, he's
3, 4.
definitely looking at 3. Looking to move red, change angles, gets the jam on the back, does improve the situation, unlocks those 2 in the front. So even though Epping is lying 3, that stone sitting in the front 8-foot now is much more usable for Brad Jacobs. The red, red, yellow option is better as well. So an improved situation, but still very, very strong for Team Epping.
It's when you wish you had the mics on these players here and you can hear what they're talking about.
We can mind read for them and look at the body language, and it's pretty clear what the options are.
What can't we do right now?
Exactly. And John's saying, what if we guard? We're lying 3 right now. What do we leave them if we just block it up? And that is not a crazy play.
No,
Got 3 in the bank right now. Pretty sure that that stone just front 4-foot is 3rd shot.
Take a closer look at that.
And there you go. Yeah, I would absolutely say that yellow's lying 3 right now. Think about the guard. Well, any shot really. I mean, I was going to say, think about the guard. You got to throw it, perfect. But any shot you choose now, you're going to have to throw perfect.
No, it's risky.
What you do know is you.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. Finish your thought, Connor.
know it's risky, but do you ever just nose that red and see if it catches the back red here?
Yeah, that's not a crazy play. If red
You
straight
just
back,
can't hit it
clip yellow,
high
clip
side
red. Exactly. You can't hit it
and
high
make it
side.
for him.
Exactly. And that was always my maxim in situations like this. It's like, if we did nothing right now, you never want to make a shot for your opponent, but you do know that you have to deal with that stone beside the brush of John Epping. You can't ignore that one. So you got to either guard it or deal with it and remove it. And then the question is, what kind of contact point is ideal? And you got to think that tiny inside flop is ideal.
Don't want to stagger. Oh, I guess we'll see.
Delivery on its way for Team Epping. Making a play at that stone in the front 8 foot. They get to nose. They do get action on that back stone and leave themselves front 12 foot. So just as you dialed it up, Connor, that's exactly what they wound up playing. Straight back, got action, moved that stone off the back 4 foot, pushed it into the 12 foot. And this is worth another look. Let's watch where
I
the
don't think
stones
there's
go.
much else place you can hit it here. You roll in, you create a stagger with backing, and just hit it perfectly, in my opinion.
So as quickly as that, John Epping lying 4 guarded. 2 stones to come here in the 4th end, and Team Jacobs 3 center stones overlapped. This is looking very, very scary indeed for Brad Jacobs.
I think it's either steal or handshakes here. Don't ask
Well,
me
you kind
how
of go
you're
into
gonna get
damage control mode here in this situation. I think, Brad is thinking, okay, at this point, if I'm Brad Jacobs, I'm saying, okay, I'm kind of happy to concede 2 out of this. So what can I do with my 2 shots to make it, no worse than dropping 2? Because right now, exactly right. If you go all out for glory and you come up with even a quarter miss here, chances are really high that John winds up scoring 4+ and it might be game over. What an end. What a great
has
shot
been
from
all
Morgan.
game.
Yeah, it's been super, super entertaining.
Not
And we still
not
got 4 rocks
like
to come, Connor. I mean, gosh.
yeah. Not many no bad calls this game either. Just you see this Epping team just looking a bit sharper than the Jacobs team right now.
Huge shot here for Brad Jacobs. Looking to weld one into the button area. Bail his buddies out. Gallant and Hebert absolutely pounding it. Now they like the weight. Now they're going to sweep for curl. The power of these brushes. And it will come to rest just biting 4 foot, so has cut down that scoring area. So just as I was saying, Connor, leaving that stone sitting there, now you're, if the end were to finish, okay, conceding 2, it's a heck of a lot better than 4.
Yeah. See if Epping can pick this out again. Played a lot of these out-turn picks and in-turn picks this game.
Ian McMillan lining it up from the delivery end. John Epping likewise having a look. Can probably squeeze by that center guard and make a play on that stone that Brad just delivered. But boy, oh boy, you got to get to nose. You ever pop it high side, push that stone front button away from the button area, you're basically creating a yawning cavity for Brad to draw into on his last one and get himself out of the end. So if you're going to make a play on that stone that Brad just threw, has to be absolutely perfect. Otherwise, you just sacrifice all that hard work that you do. And as we move away, boy, it would be taking on a huge risk to make a play at that stone that Brad just threw.
Epping might say, let's draw here on my first and see if Jacobs will leave me the opportunity to play it on my second. Because
We're
if he
back to that
makes it
question.
now,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Connor.
sorry, if he makes it now, it's a freeze and your end is over. A back 4 freeze and your end is over there. Sorry.
Yeah, so long look. We think the call is to come around the stone in the front, the yellow stone in the front 12 foot, get a piece of the 4 foot for third shot. You don't want to slide behind tee. Tough shot, but definitely there. Try onto the table. But where I was going with that, Connor, is you mentioned earlier about the discipline and the thinking of John Epping. And this, I think, another example. This shot is saying this for me is a safer way for us to be thinking about potentially scoring 3 than making a play on the stone that Brad just threw. This stone is going to come to rest on the tee line, but it will not be in third shot position. But it does sit there as an accumulator. And if John decided he did want to make a play at that stone that Brad threw front 4 foot on his last, does set up a potential 4 or 5. Opportunities here for Jacobs to get shot rocks seem to be very low indeed. Can he improve the situation to cut things down further for Epping and generate the force of all forces? I think if Brad Jacobs could force to 1 here, that would be an incredible result from where he's been from. So how do you do that? One play could be just to try and promote the stone that he threw on his first, but taking a look at it here, that will not be the play. He's going to follow down the path that John Epping just threw. What kind of weight do you think he's thinking about here, Connor? Definitely coming down the in-turn path. Brad Jacobs lining it up. What a fourth end this has been. 2 stones to come, and it will be the heat from Jacobs. Trying to attack that stone that Epping just threw, get some action on the stone in the back. Pinballs them. Nice shot from Brad Jacobs. Spills stones, and he de-risks enormously. Great shot from Jacobs. John left this one for him, made the attempted come around. Jacobs says, okay, I'm going to take 5 off the table at least. Great shot. So for Epping, 1 in the bag. And are you thinking 3 or are you thinking 2? Here's that he is thinking 2. If he hits what he sees, he'll sacrifice shot rock. But if he sticks around with the shooter, a potential 2 here for John Epping. What a game this has been in Swift Current. Final stone, 4th end on its way. It's got a lot of curling to do. A lot of curling. Now it's making a move. Oh, they just squeaked the guard and they pick it clean for a 3. Great shot from John Epping. Wow. Perfect control weight for that shot. Worth another look. Halfway down. Thought that's got a lot of curling to do, but that was that just control weight and the big late sweep and the big late finish on the outturn. And in the end, just getting by that corner guard inside the nose. 3 on the board. John Epping, 2 3-point ends in this game. And they take a 6-2 lead into the fifth. Fifth end action at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown on Curling Stadium. Hans Frauenlaub along with Connor Sims. John Epping throwing another 3 on the board. Fantastic shot to take a 6-2 lead into the second half of this game.
Let's take a look at it here again. It's a brilliant sweep, great line call, good weight.
Just squeak that center guard in the end. Perfect. Tremendous, tremendous end of curling. High stakes gambling from both teams. Great shot execution. And in the end, a 3 on the board for John Epping. So corner guards are up. Center stones are in for Team Epping.
Just ideal setup here for both teams. Jacobs got their 2 corner guards. Epping perfect stones lined up in the 4-foot.
Yeah, in 5 rock rule, this 5th stone in this situation is always an interesting choice, and John electing to bring it into the rings. Not surprising with a 4-point lead. Not wanting to accumulate guards at all. What a fantastic, fantastic game this has been. Hasn't disappointed. We expected a good game, and boy, are we getting it. And this Jacobs team has been a bit of a juggernaut lately. Looking really, really strong, but John Epping giving them everything they can handle today.
Yeah, Jacobs coming off a 2nd place finish at the Coyote National last month.
Doing very, very well.
Losing the final to a team that hasn't lost many finals, if any at all, or this season.
Yeah, there's some spectacularly good curling happening in both men's and women's curling on the circuit this year. Really high standard. We're just 400 days plus away from the Winter Olympic Games, and it seems like all the best athletes in the sport are peaking and bringing their A games as we head towards the Winter Olympics in 2026.
Yeah, it's a big year for a lot of these Canadian teams as well, especially a team like Epping, looking to get one of those pre-qualified spots before the pre-trials qualification next season.
Good shooting early in the end here from Team Epping. All the stones in the rings belong to them. 2 of them in front of the tee line. So stuff to work with for Brad Jacobs. Corner guard's still up, but pretty good situation here for Team Epping at this stage of the end. Brett Gallant lining it up. And Connor, we were talking during the break, and you felt like it was kind of tour bust here for Brad Jacobs. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, it's not an easy task to come down or get the hammer back up, and especially hammer advantage in 6 to Epping here. And to be down 3 is questionable. Even honestly, down 2 might also be questionable without the hammer versus a strong team and playing very well this game, Team Epping.
So now we're seeing the switch of gears with the Jacobs stone coming short of the rings and covering second shot. John Epping saying, okay, I'm feeling good about the stones in the rings now. Let's think about protecting them.
That's a couple times that Gallant has come up light on a draw. And I'm wondering if he's having a rock issue or just struggling with the ice. Very out of normal for a guy like Grant.
Does create a good opportunity, though, for Team Epping here to cover first and second shot. They would love a force here. Good sweep to get a piece of that center line. They do expose a third of the rock on the intern side, so it's not a perfect guard. Brad Jacobs says, yeah, I can see more than enough of the shot rock to make a play on it. Hopefully saying bumper weight. Spill behind second shot. So the door creaking just a little bit open here for Team Jacobs.
Big shot here if you can make this. Definitely sets up a 2 for Jacobs.
Kennedy taking an extra moment before delivery. He knows how big this moment is. This one's got a bit of moving to do. Is he by that top stone? Big sweep, and they just get it by.
Yeah, it doesn't stick for second shot.
No, that's definitely an error there. Brett Gallant did really well just to get it by that guard with that big finishing sweep.
Look at this, just the power in him to sweep. He walked that right over. It was wrecking on the outside guard all day.
But it does spill into second shot position, so really advantage back to Epping now. If they can get second shot behind this center guard. Jake Horgan preparing to throw this out turn come around. This is the A side at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. This isn't a qualifier, but the winner of this game will advance to the A qualifier. So they're all big games, but the winner of this game in a really strong position in the tournament. Safely around the guard. Comes to rest, biting, not quite biting front button. Again, just exposing a corner of that shot on the intern side behind the center guard. And so Brad Jacobs saying, okay, we can do it again. Hit and flop is there if we want it.
Really tough shot though. I mean, but you're leaving the same shot for a guy like Mark Kennedy.
Well, the difference for Mark this time as well is that red stone in the back 8 foot's kind of a catcher for him. So he can roll and spill and even come up to it and still get shot, I think. Brett Gallant with the strong finishing sweep on Kennedy's prior shot. This time Hebert taking charge on the inside line. That tells us that the line of the shot quite a bit better than the first one. And there's the hit, there's the little roll. Kind of sits in no man's land there, front 4 foot. Jacobs lying 1-3 right now. There is the smallest of holes for John Epping to throw through on the outturn side to throw at the stone that Kennedy just delivered, and that seems to be what he's lining up here, Connor. If you get through the hole, you make the shot.
He's got to be careful though, because he ever
Oh, yeah.
wrecks on that tight. He ever wrecks on that tight red, it opens up Epping's yellow and could bring that back 8 redstone into play.
Yeah, I agree. And this is fraught with peril.
I would
If you
argue
get it through the hole, you make the shot, but boy, oh boy, you clip going by, and then bad things could be happening. Here we go. John Epping. Well, throw an intern here, so maybe he's not trying to run the hole after all. You know, he's doing it intern side, better control, and makes the double, jams, spills it, hangs around the back, but leaves himself lying, well, he is lying 4. Nice shot.
Yeah, just another clean release here for Epping, and they continue to look strong throughout this game.
Making it look easy. That is not a big port. Intern side giving him more control, throwing the intern, threading the needle.
And he
John
makes a
Epping
double
lies
for
4.
fun.
Yeah, making it for fun. Exactly right. 3 stones to come here in the 5th. Brad Jacobs with the hammer. Still a chance to manufacture a skipper's pair with a good shot here. But in some respects, if you're John Epping, you're thinking, okay, we don't want to give up 2 here, but you know that you're not going to give up more than 2, and that's a pretty good feeling at this point of the end. When you're 4 up on the scoreboard. Brad Jacobs throwing a beauty. Fully behind the center guard. Fully buried, no chance to pick it out. So John Epping says it's the run. And that center guard straight back.
Yeah,
a nice
no
shot from
risk with
Jacobs.
this shot. I'm
Yeah,
sure
absolutely
Epping
right.
is obviously not like ecstatic to give up 2 here, but he wouldn't be upset if he gave up 2 here.
It's a pretty good feeling to think worst case, we're 2 up with playing 6. Best case, if I make this one, we're in super strong control of the game. It's the attempted run back, looking for nose. Gets nose, slams the shooter. John Epping absolutely on fire here today in Swift Current. Great shot.
Let's add another one to the highlight reel.
Yeah, this is one of these games where it feels like the entire game has been a highlight reel, Connor. We've been seeing fantastic shooting, and here's another one. Making it look easy.
Not being picky here, but I think he wanted to stick the run back
That's
stone
right. We'll give him 3/4 of a shot for not sticking the shooter.
But I'm sure he'll take it.
No doubt. So it is the last rock, and Brad Jacobs, no choice but to draw for a single point to stay alive in this game. Terrific end from Team John Epping to force this situation. Jacobs just needs a piece of the forefoot. Flirted with that corner guard, and it's short, and that is going to come up short, and that will be it. My goodness, John Epping with a thrashing of Brad Jacobs. Jacobs coming up short on that attempted draw, and it will be handshakes. My goodness, what a performance from John Epping. Final score, Epping 11, Jacobs 2. Wow, Connor, what a game for John Epping.
You know, the score really doesn't describe how this game went. It's just Epping made that big shot in the first and open up with a 2 or a 3, sorry, and just kept the pressure going throughout the whole game.
Yeah, a little bit of good fortune converted into a 3 in the first, another 3 in the 4th for Epping, setting up for that force here in the 5th, coming up short. And it will be advancing into the A qualifier for John Epping at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown with a big win over Brad Jacobs. Much more curling to come from Swift Current in this fantastic event. So hope you'll rejoin us. Check out the other games on Curling Stadium and be back with us throughout the day and throughout the weekend and into the early part of next week at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. For Connor Sims, I'm Hans Fraunlob. Thank you very much for joining us from Swift Current.